think one of the guys that is driving this team, at least early on to start the season, has been Frank Nazar, and he's not a guy that's short on confidence. And we've heard a couple of the veterans talk about how much energy he brings to the group. When you have that kind of player, and you kind of have that guy that has a personality that's a little bit of infectious amongst the group, you have this young of a team. Do you feel like the way that the early momentum has gone, lesson learning, or the hard nights in the league that a lot of these guys, these young players, have to go through, do you think they can kind of roll with that confidence, roll with that momentum, and learn lessons while also getting positive results?
Answer is yes. And you brought up a good player there in Frankie Nazar, not just because of how well he's played and scored and done, really since the last 10 games of last season. He's proven that he can score every night and make big plays. The one thing that I think he does that we've talked about and hinted about is it gives, Connor Bedard, whether you want to say a running mate, whether you just want to say a buddy, whether you say somebody that he can experience this, growing into being a player that can not only be a superstar because everybody knows how talented you are, but a team that can bring a team together. I think having a running mate like that is perfect pair. So I think that the influence that Frank's had on Connor has given him the confidence to kind of be a kid again. I think when Connor got here at 18, he's looking around and gosh, they signed all these older players. I'm looking around this dressing room. I'm 15 years younger than a lot of these guys. To get more and more younger kids into the locker room, give them a voice, give them kind of a group to hang with on the road, to kind of act like kids, like they are, I think has been extremely beneficial. And I think the older guys, especially when I say Foligno, Murphy, Dickinson, guys that they're, I think, feeding off of that young energy and really enjoying hanging around with the kids in a different way now that they've kind of stepped out of their shell. And I think Frank's been a big part of that. And again, it's been fun to watch. It's early in the year. If they keep playing as hard and as competitive as they are, that's all we can ask of these guys.
Yeah, it really feels like Nazar's emergence, and even if he was not performing at the level he's at, just have somebody else to kind of take some of the spotlight off of Connor has been helpful too. Even just, being in the room after practices, not everyone is just hanging around Connor's locker waiting to put a camera in his face and ask him a million questions, because there's other guys on the team that are part of this thing going forward, where his first year, it was basically him and a bunch of stopgap guys. Now it's him and Frank and Levshinov and Renzel's here and Spencer Knight's here. So there's so many more guys that matter to the ultimate conclusion that Kyle Davidson's trying to reach. It just gives him some room to breathe a little bit. And I think that's been almost as helpful as anything.
I mean, you made a great point. I mean, there were pieces of the team in the last couple of years that were fillers for sure. If you I'm looking at the roster right now, and I can say, I could see 14 or 15 of these guys being here for 3 or 4 more years. Where last year and 2 years ago, when I look at the roster, I say, oh, there's only going to be 2 or 3 that are going to be here and continue on as this group moves forward. So I think the building blocks and the pieces that have been inserted into the lineup this year really give you hope, because you're going to watch these guys develop, and they're going to be here when the time comes when they're going to have a legitimate chance to have great success in this league. And I think the guys are starting to realize that too. Like, hey, we're not just here, to pass a little time go until the other guys get here. I think most of these guys are feeling confident that they're going to be part of the future. And I think that means a lot to them as well. And what we haven't really talked about is Jeff Blashill's influence on the group. He's given them the confidence to be themselves. He's kind of carved out a little bit of role for each of them. Some of them are different than others, but each of them know what Jeff expects that they can add to the team. You don't want all the same. You want, Colton Dock has been given a certain responsibility. Obviously, Mikheyev's been given a responsibility. All these guys, I think, have really understood what's being asked of them. And if you grade out on all these guys, I mean, the worst grade, I don't know, would be maybe a B- out of all of the players this year so far. And that's outstanding after 10 games that you say, well, this guy's having a terrible start to the year. I don't know that you could say that about anybody in the lineup. So kudos to the coaches and kudos to the guys for absorbing what Jeff's tried to instill here.